How do you feel like your defense played at Wisconsin in general?
The guys were ready to play. You go back and it's hard to get a feel right then and there. You feel like, okay, you have mixed emotions during the game, but you get a chance to go back and watch the film, and then you watch some of the plays made, especially like in the short yardage area. You got DBs. I mean, Phelan goes up there and hits that back on that critical play, and it's like, wow. And then Omar Brown on the other short yardage play. So there was moments where though everybody was tapped in. I think the biggest thing was the quarterback running around, in third downs. That's where I got to be better. I didn't give our guys a chance to. I didn't give them a chance to let loose on third downs, and there were some critical third downs in there. I mean, even in the overtime, you say we're going to get them into 2 third down and longs in overtime. I'd take those odds all day, but I wasn't good enough on third downs, and so. And the credit to the Mordecai. I mean, he was hard to tackle. I mean, we blitzed everybody. You found a little seam in there. We drop 8 and put spies on him, and he makes some guys miss in some critical areas, and then he made some big time throws. So credit to him. So I got to be better on third down.
How tough is that? What's the key when a blitzer's coming free, full speed, but you got a guy who's shifty like that about closing down that tackle?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. The same thing happened at Maryland, in the critical drive. Same day, we got a guy, come scot-free. They don't even see the protection, and then he makes a move at the last second, and then they gain 25 yards or something. The same thing happened there, on a scoring drive. That stuff happens, but again, you can't be afraid to put those guys and let them go play. You know what I mean? The same blitz that we missed at Maryland later on in the game, I think it was Marquise hit him on the right side. Same thing, kind of delayed blitz, and the quarterback saw him real late, and just Keese closed on him and then made a sack. You know what I mean? So you gotta let them go play, and trust the guys. And sometimes, again, they got scholarship players too. They're gonna make a guy miss and everything. You just gotta rally around it.
Much you appreciate what Marquise is doing. Just 3 games into a return after basically a year off.
Yeah, Coach Coop put it the right way. He was like, Keese is on mat drill offseason week 3. That's how far along he is. But you can see just in the film what kind of athlete he is and what kind of skill set he has. It was just a matter of him getting confident with his lower body and then getting his conditioning and his speed back. But he's a NFL DB, and he's great to be around, and he's a really good teammate. Everybody cheers him on, so it's just really, really fun to watch guys like that when they come back and they make a play and they gain that confidence back, especially coming off injury,
Obviously, when your defense is good, and you're a coordinator, you get opportunities to maybe look at other jobs. How do you balance in a week like this, maybe hearing your name out there, or maybe even getting phone calls and trying to help your team get to a point?
Anything like that is a reflection of the young men playing and the other coaches and the work that they put in. I just have to, that's the way I take that. That has nothing to do with me. It's all those guys running around I didn't make 1 tackle this year. I didn't make, 1 sack this year. Those young men perform, and those assistant coaches got them in a position to perform. And so, you work to be in a position like that. But I say this all the time, you handle that after the season. Your name ain't gonna be up there if you give up 300 yards rushing and lose this game. You know what I mean? So it's cool and all, but it's cool because Nebraska gets recognized, and Coach Rule taking a chance on me gets recognized, and the young men playing get recognized. Like, that's cool. Anything good with me is automatic good for Nebraska, good for the player. So that's the way I take that.
You work for a lot of head coaches. What have you learned from Rule that maybe you didn't learn from it in this 1 year that maybe you didn't know prior to getting?
I think the most important thing Coach Rule does is he is so involved, so engaged with all aspects, recruiting, with strength and conditioning, with the players, with the offense, with the defense. I mean, he's very hands-on, and that's that's what you want to be. You work and gain all this experience, and then as a head coach, you want to sit back and not really do anything. You know what I mean? Like it's actually opposite, right? You get a chance to see him work and see how, he pulls the guy aside and watches their PFF with them and gets him in a different mindset. You see him go and sit down and eat with the walk-on guys and you just kick back and ask them how their day was. You pull in a guy and say, hey, on this academic deal, what happened in this one class? Like every facet of the program, every individual is always thought about and being touched and trying to be developed and trying to be put in the correct mindset. So that's what great leaders do.
Hey, Tony, how'd you feel hearing him yesterday advocate pretty hard publicly for you and just in advancements for you, whenever the opportunity would come in your career?
I don't think that's, ever happened to me in that degree. You just want to, as an assistant coach, I heard it best, man. You just be a great assistant coach. That's it. Just do what you're supposed to do. Be a great resource for the other assistant coaches. Be a great resource for the players, and good things will happen. So I've never had a coach stand up there and say that. I actually don't know how to react to it. I just want to do a good job for him and the chances he gave to me and my family. The responsibility he gave to me, I want to make sure I do a good job for him.
What have the veterans in your group meant to you, some of those seniors and guys who are maybe fifth-year juniors who have decisions to make as they take the field maybe for the last time?
Yeah, that's big-time ball. Like I told those guys early in the week, all of us old players who are coaches, we remember that last home game. Right? And I spat out my last home game. I remember like it was yesterday. And so anytime you made it this far and you got one more guaranteed chance to go out there and do it, why not? And again, this is crazy, but the whole season, Coach Rule was always like, if this was your last game and you knew this was going to be the outcome of it, how would you go back and prepare? How would you go back and practice? How would you go back and watch film? How would you go back knowing that this was going to be your last? He was saying that back in fall camp. And now, this is that opportunity, right? Like this could be the last one. So all that constant reinforcement is like, like we've been here. Like we're ready. Like let's go. Let's make use of the moment.
What was that like for you? Your last home game. What memories do you have? Were there any?
Oh man, we lost. We lost in the Rose Bowl against SC. So that's a bad question to ask right now. Bad question right now.
Looking at the Iowa defense, what do you think, or the Iowa offense, what do you think of the way that they use their tight ends and maybe the challenge that presents?
Yeah, you know what? If you talk about a team that's just they are so resilient. They know who they are. Think about it, right? The offensive coordinator and all that stuff happens, and quarterback change, and then the tight ends going down and guys getting hurt, and they are still performing at that kind of level. So. First of all, you got mad respect for what they do and how those guys operate over there. And then that's a place that they know who they are, and their tight ends are a huge part of their offense. They got so many personnel groupings and they use them all different kind of ways, run game, pass game. They throw tight end screens to them, So it's a challenge. It's actually kind of cool when an offense does that to you, you have to make sure you have all the answers, so they keep you on your toes. Yeah.
How tough are the calls on a guy like James Williams? I noticed he wasn't on the travel roster. I think he's at that 4-game mark.
Yeah.
Are those kind of difficult decisions, a guy like him specifically, I guess?
Yeah, there was a lot of conversations, again, Coach Rule and T. Knight, everybody coming together and trying to figure out, and I think the formula is playing him the last maybe couple games right now going to be as beneficial as when he's, a junior or senior and he's 15, 20 pounds heavier and, the program is in this time in 2 or 3 years and maybe we're contended for the championships and playoffs and all that stuff. What's more beneficial and stuff and advantageous. So, again, that's Coach Rule. He's always constantly in that stuff and he's always thinking ahead like that and he's always making those decisions for the players. It's real easy to be like, hey, we need sacks now, we need to do this now, and it's like, step back, like what is the best thing for the young man? So again, another lesson learned from the guy.
It's funny, Luke Reimer's been through quite a bit here. He's put in a lot of time and had an up and down season for you with his health and everything. But what has he meant to you in terms of just a a voice that's kind of led the way as you guys.
Yeah, you know, he's a guy who, again, I say this, but you root for. You know, he is OU, and he's a Nebraska young man, and you know, he's a guy who you almost he's wound so tight, and through the course of the year, you actually saw him. It almost like a relief, like, hey, I get to enjoy playing football. You know what I mean? Versus you got to be like this, you got to do this, you got to do this. No fun, no emotion, no nothing. You know, and then you see him out there like today. You know, we were joking around about him coming out for a play and all this kind of stuff, and Nick and Bullock and all those older guys around, and they're joking around with him, and you're seeing him smiling, and you're seeing his personality come out, and that's what you root for, right? That's what you coach for. You know, young men like that, and seeing that, hey, you know, it's a big deal. You're playing in Nebraska, and this is, you know, could be the last game of your Nebraska career and all that stuff, and to be able to embrace it and to take it and run with it and enjoy the moment, you know, that's really cool to see.
Tony, what have you kind of learned about the Iowa-Nebraska rivalry, and just how much do you enjoy rivalry games in general?
Now, I'm color black. I like wearing the color black, but I have not worn that during the week. You know what I mean? Like, we don't say those three. You go I-O, whatever. You can't spell that rest of that stuff out like that. Otherwise, there's a tradition here, I guess, with the beards and all that stuff. I clearly did not get the memo early enough, so it's a big deal. You know, all the great rivalries. You know, there's going to be some things behind it. You know, as a player, I was with mine with the SC UCLA, and then you come to the different spots, and that's one of the first things you knew right away. And then when you walk into that lobby, you see that trophy, and you're like, okay, dude, like let's go. This is for real now. So, thank you.